Hello, everybody. What's up? My name's RepCat45. Here and today, I just want to say sorry again. I haven't posted in a few weeks yet again, and stuff has just been crazy. I've still been really busy, but luckily for me, I just have this week, and then 3 days next week, and then I'm done with school, summer vacation. So luckily, things are pretty much settling down just because I don't have because school's almost over. So realistically, I'm just gonna have to study for finals, um, and that's it, really. So luckily, things have calmed down quite a bit for me, because I had 2 concerts last week, and band and orchestra concerts, and it's been crazy. Other than that, it's been fine. Also, I can probably still get part 2 of the room tour out. I got a new phone, and it hasn't transferred over. It didn't transfer over to my new phone because I didn't transfer everything over. I just kind of re-downloaded everything because I knew I wasn't going to lose anything. Because that's what I like about Google, is that pretty much everything's backed up. So I still have all my photos. They're just not saved onto the phone or in the cloud. So I can download it, but it's going to take a little bit. So I'll do that. But that's why part 2 hasn't come out, is because it was already filmed and ready to go. I just couldn't upload it because I got a new phone, which I got for free, actually, which is pretty cool. T-Mobile was doing a deal where if you traded in your original Pixel, they'd give you $400, which was the price of the brand new Pixel 3a. So I basically got a free upgrade. It was just like $10 in sales tax. So I call that a win. Anyways. On to the actual point of this video is the Brawler 64 gamepad, which is basically it's by Retro Fighters, and it's supposed to be a modern version of the N64 controller, basically. And there's a few things about this that I really like. I don't really super care for the new design. I don't really hate the old N64 design. But I know a lot of people don't appreciate it. I honestly didn't mind it. But I mean, I guess it's nice to have something a little bit more modern. But we're gonna go ahead and open it. You also notice that this isn't officially licensed by Nintendo. You can read this. It just kind of goes through all the stuff I'm gonna say, anyways. Yeah, it's not officially licensed by Nintendo. It's about $35, I think. Which isn't terrible. And then, what else? I don't know, that's kind of it. It works with your N64. That's kind of it. I ordered this about 4 months ago, and when I ordered it off Amazon, it said, oh, okay, that's weird. Anyways, it said that they didn't have them in stock, and it'd be about a month till they got them in stock. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't necessarily need this right away, so I wasn't that worried about it. I was like, okay, I'll buy it anyways. Yeah, 4 months, from now, it finally shipped last week, or something like that. No, it shipped it was last week. It was like Saturday when it got here. I mean, it got here Monday, so it was pretty fast shipping. It just wasn't fast in the sense that, it took a while to get us. Okay, or get to me, I guess. Okay, so this is kind of a little pamphlet apparently about them. So you can kind of read that if you want to. And then it just says thank you. Thank you for purchasing the Brawler 64 controller, which is the name of the controller. Yeah, the back, it's nothing super crazy. It's just more information that you probably don't super care for. So here it is. They gave you a solid amount of cable, actually. This actually might even be a little bit more than the original controller, which I have next to me. I do think they make these in different colors, actually, but I think the different colors are a little bit more expensive, so it's just if you're willing to pay. I think it was about $5-10 more bucks, and I personally didn't care. I figured I'd save the $5 and just get the normal gray one. So yeah, that's what I did. But as you can see, it's more a modern controller. It's got only 2 handles instead of 3, which is, important, I guess, for non-3-handed people. So yeah, you still got your C buttons here. You got your A and B, like normal. You got your start, your D-pad. There's also a clear and a turbo button, and I think the clear is for the turbo if you want to take the turbo off. I'm assuming you just press turbo and then the button, and it'll do it, and then you can press clear to stop it. Then here's the analog stick, which is more reminiscent of a GameCube, but not really, because the GameCube had like kind of lines, but it reminds me more of a GameCube, analog stick than the normal N64 controller stick, which I do like because it's one of the fatal errors of the original N64 controller, which I'm sure you've heard of if you've seen any Nintendo review even remotely about the N64. The N64 joystick over time becomes loose and unresponsive, and the reason it does that is because if you actually take it apart and look at it, it's basically just rubber grinding on rubber, which is obviously not super awesome. So over time it gets loose, and then eventually you just cannot use that. Luckily enough, they're actually the joysticks themselves are pretty easily replaced, but it's just if you want to buy them or not. And you can even replace them so that's a GameCube controller, or a GameCube thumbstick actually, which is actually kind of cool. But so I mean, there's workarounds around it even with a official controller, but if you want a different form factor, this is one way to go. There's another there's another famous controller that I forget what they're called, but they're really small N64 controllers, and actually they're pretty nice. The only thing is they're like $80. They're more than like the actual price of an N64 controller, like an official one. And I was like, no. So I bought this because it looked pretty decent and it had fairly good reviews. So, yeah. So actually, if we go ahead and look, you still have your L and R, your left and rights, and then there's 2 Z's, because if you know, the original N64 controller only has the one. But this is nice because it doesn't matter which trigger you hit; they're both the same. So it, left-handed or right-handed, it doesn't really matter. I just kind of feel weird not to have another stick, but it's not terribly. This is kind of feels like an Xbox One controller a little bit. So if you're like the Xbox One controller, then this will be a nice at home. Obviously, it feels a little cheaper. And that's because it is. I mean, it's $30 versus whatever, $60 for a brand new controller like normally. Honestly, the buttons feel pretty good, and the D-pad feels pretty good too. The D-pad's a little mushy. Joystick feels okay. Yeah, the buttons are okay. The bumpers are okay. The triggers are really soft and don't feel that good. But that's kind of my only complaint about this controller. Yeah, and it's just got the standard N64 jack, obviously, because you're going to plug it into your N64. And in case you're wondering, it does still have the little N64 port thingy, so you can still use your Rumble pack or your memory pack or whatever pack you want. That'll still work with this, which actually was one of the really cool things about this controller, is that it still uses those packs if you do wish to use them. So obviously I haven't played around with this controller at all, but I mean, it feels like a solid controller. I've watched a few reviews on it, and people seem to think pretty highly of them. Maybe not like wow, this is even better than the original controller, but they at least, they're like, yeah, these are pretty good. You might as well pick one up if you want. So there's that. And then just for reference, here's a regular N64 controller. So as you can see, they honestly didn't move a ton around. The D-pad and the joystick kind of switched spots, but that was more for the modernization, I guess you can call it. Obviously no turbo or clear button because it's an official controller. As you can see, the sticks look different too. I mean, the D-pads look different too. I guess everything kind of looks different. The buttons aren't as shiny like on the originals; they're more matte. And then if the back, I mean, they both got the port basically in the same spot. There's your Z button, in case you're wondering. and then your L and R's are both there. And like I said, I think the cable's longer on the Retro Fighter. What is this? The Brawler 64. That's what it's called, Brawler 64. Yeah. So I mean, as you can tell, it's kind of still shares that design with it, but at the same time it doesn't, which is kind of also why I like it, is because it tries to be it, but modern, which I think is actually pretty smart. And I do appreciate. Henceforth, why I bought it. This is also just a nice cheap kind of way. Well, maybe not necessarily cheap. You can probably get a cheaper way, but like if you get the GameCube controller, the GameCube stick for your N64 controller. This is just kind of a nice way if you want a more modern controller and you don't want to worry about wrecking your OG controller with the joystick on your original controller. So that's mainly why I got this, so I don't wreck my normal controllers. But also just because I thought this was actually a pretty interesting controller, and I figured I'd give it a whack. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and again, I'm sorry I haven't uploaded videos in a while. It's been a little crazy, but I should be back into the norm, and so yeah, you guys should start expecting more regular uploads, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.